We're going to continue with Perek Alef Mishna Vav. Yeshua ben Prachya, Venita Harabeli Kibu Mehem. Yeshua ben Prachya and Nita Harabeli, they learned from Yossi ben Yoaz and Yossi ben Yochanan. Yeshua ben Prachya Omer, Yeshua ben Prachya said, Aseicha Rav, you should make for yourself a Rav, Ukinei Chachaber, and acquire for yourself a friend. Vehebe done is called Adam Makap Skos, and you should judge all people to the side of Skos. And Rashi explains, what does it mean, Aseicha Rav? You should make for yourself a Rav. You should not learn yourself, or teach yourself from your own logic. Elamin harav umin hashimu, you should learn from a Rebbe or from something which is quoted over from the Rebbe, but not from your own logic. And it seems a little difficult to understand. I could hear if a person is maybe not so smart, they maybe don't have such a good svara, they don't have such good logic. So I understand why it would be critical for them to have a Rav, because if they're left to their own devices, so to say, they're going to end up going off and going in wrong directions. But let's say you're dealing with a person who is very smart and they do have good logic, they do have sound logic. So why is it critical for that type of person as well to learn from a Rav? Why can't they learn from their own logic? And we see from here something very interesting, that maybe it's because Torah is not like other, topics or subjects, if you will. Really, the Torah is the das of Hashem, and the person with their own das can never begin to understand the Torah. And in order to begin to understand it, it requires special siyata d'shmaya. And perhaps the way to achieve that is through learning from a Rebbe, or at the very least, just to be guided in the proper direction, how to learn and what to learn, and what the proper approach is, because it's not really something which can be done based on logic, being that it's really Hashem's das, and human logic on its own can never naturally truly understand it and attain it. So it requires somebody who has gotten the proper training, and someone who has the proper understanding to instruct and to demonstrate to a person what the proper approach and the proper understanding is, in order that they too should be able to achieve that. So we see from here how critical, aside from obviously we're familiar that it's very important for a person to have a Rebbe, for Eitzah, for Hadracha, advice and guidance, and Hashkafa, Halacha, all these things are critically important to have a Rebbe. But now we see, in addition to that, it's critically important for a person to have a Rebbe to learn Torah, to be able to teach him Torah. If a person wants to truly be able to learn Torah, he needs to have a Rebbe. It's the only way to do it. And there could be a point in time where he can, so to say, graduate past that and go out to learn on his own after he's learned from the Rebbe and he's been directed and trained, and now he knows how to learn, and he has an understanding of the Torah. But to start with, if a person wants to be able to learn Torah, there's only one way to do it. He must have a Rebbe. And then the Mishnah continues, and you should acquire for yourself a friend. Says Rashi, Amri la Svarim. Some explain this to mean Svarim, that it refers to books, to the to Svarim of the Torah. Amri la Chaver Mamish, and some say it means literally a friend. Because two are better than one. And according to the second approach, it seems very understandable why it's important to be Knil Chaver, to acquire a friend, because as Rashi says, two are better than one. You have two people, you have someone, they can help you, they can correct you if you make a mistake, you're less likely to make a mistake in the first place, they can share things with you that you on your own wouldn't be able to come to, etc. So it's understandable why that would be a good thing to do, and what it means to acquire for yourself a friend. But according to the first approach, that it refers to Svarim, what does that mean, that Svarim are Chaver? What does that even mean? How is it safe for your friend? Does it mean, a person is lonely, he has no one to talk to, so he should buy a book so that he has someone to keep him company? And what does it mean that safer is a chaver? And perhaps the pshat is that, imagine if you had a person who imparted to you incredible wisdom, and they taught you everything you need to know to be successful in life. They set you up to be successful in life, and they gave you unimaginable riches. So how would you describe that person? Right? Maybe friend is not even a big enough word to describe such a person. Benefactor, right? This person is giving you everything. They're at minimum a good friend. And if we stop to think about it, well, what is a sefer? Like the Sefer is something that contains within it the Torah, and it's teaching you Torah that you did not previously know, or you didn't previously know it as well, or this particular angle, whatever it may be. And what does it mean to gain extra insight into Torah that you didn't have before? You are now being privy to the greatest wisdom in the world, really the only wisdom in the world. You're gaining insight into how to conduct your life, setting you up for how to live. And greater than all that is just the incredible reward that one receives from learning Torah. So it's giving you incredible riches. So could there be anything greater than that? If somebody did that for you, like we said, how would you relate to them? At least as a friend. Maybe even more than that, you'd be so indebted to them. That would be the best friend ever. So how much more so is a sefer, which does that even on a much greater and grander scale. And if we can appreciate this, sometimes we approach, a sefer. We look at svarim as almost like, they're those annoying things or those difficult things, and we want to stay away from them. But the Mishnah is revealing to us that, on the contrary, we should view svarim in a very different light. They're our greatest friend. They contain within them the things that we'd be so happy to have, and they're ready to give it to us. And if we can appreciate that that's what the svarim are, then we can perhaps not be so reluctant to approach them. And when we do approach them, it can be with a different attitude and a different enthusiasm. And ultimately, then we could be zocha to gain even more and greater amounts from them. And then the Mishnah ends off, have a done is called adam makafskos. You should always judge all people to the kafskos. You should assume that they have good intentions. They're trying to do something good, and even though it may look like the situation perhaps could be that there's something bad going on, or they're trying to do something bad, on the contrary, you should judge them favorably and assume that there's some explanation for it, and there's really nothing wrong or bad going on. Says Rashi, Al kol shetishma alav, on all things that you hear, emer sheneskaven latova. You should say that their intent was for good. Until you know clearly that it's not so. Says Rashi, if you will judge in that manner, they will judge you from heaven also favorably. As the Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Kuf Kaf Zayin Mebei, says if a person judges other people, kafskos, he judges them favorably, then he as well will be judged favorably min Hashemayim. And it seems difficult, first of all, to understand just what does this even mean, that they'll judge you favorably min Hashemayim if you judge others favorably, as Rashi himself says, and this is the whole idea of Dal Kafskos only exists when you don't know, when it could go one of two ways. Maybe it leans in one direction, but you don't know what the intent was, what the action was. It's unclear. There's ambiguity. So there's room for you to judge it favorably. But once you know that it was a bad thing done with the wrong intentions, whatever it is, there's no more idea of judging favorably. It is a bad thing. It wasn't a favorable action. It wasn't with good intent. There's no longer an ability to judge it favorably. And therefore, Hashem, who knows the truth, Hashem knows what even better than we ourselves know most of the time. Hashem knows what our true intent was. Hashem knows what we were trying to do. And Hashem knows exactly whether it was good or bad, our intentions and our actions. So what does it mean that Hashem will judge us favorably? How is there room to judge us favorably? Either is or is not. It's good or is not good. It was good intentions or not good intentions. It's whatever it is. And it's also hard to understand why is it that the Mishnah highlights and stresses that this idea that a person should judge others favorably. Right? Of course, it's true. There's a lot of things that are good, nice to do. So we could have said a person should always make sure to do lots of chesed. Or a person should make sure to learn lots of Torah, right? Etc. Right? There's a lot of good things out there that a person could consume their time with, and would be a great thing to do. So why is the Mishnah stressing specifically what's unique about being Dala Kavskos, that the Mishnah is stressing that we should engage in that specifically? And while it's not clear exactly what it is that's unique about Dala Kavskos, that the Mishnah should stress that, perhaps the reason is because, as the Mishnah is revealing to us, when a person is Dala Kavskos, it's a tremendous tool and a tremendous power that they wield, because through that it triggers a response, perhaps because of Midah Keneged Midah, but it triggers a response from Hashem that Hashem is going to be dan you a kafskos, whatever exactly that means. And could there be anything greater than that? Who is unable to utilize this gift of having Hashem be down them with kafskos? We've all, at times done things right inside the baritz. Every person has situations in their life and actions in their life where they may not have always acted 100% properly or appropriately. And how much would they want and how much would they wish that their actions would be judged in a favorable light? Could there be any greater power than that? And perhaps that's why the Mishnah stresses that it's so important to do this, because it's not just any, not that any schus is small. Obviously, every schus is tremendous. But aside from being a schus, it has the power to, so to say, change the totality of many, many of our actions. All the actions that we do and the intents that we have that are wrong, it can change how Hashem views them and how they're perhaps counted and looked upon in Shemayim. A tremendous, tremendous power. And if we appreciate that we have this power, then it can make it so much easier for us to be dan our friend with kafskos, because yes, while sometimes, we don't want to give the person the benefit of the doubt, and we're, on the contrary, people sometimes are looking to, if you will, look down on other people. But if we appreciate that, if we give them the favorable approach and we look upon them favorably, then Hashem will look upon us favorably. Then of course I want to look at him favorably. I want to get that from Hashem. What is it going to take? If this is what it takes, then I'm ready to do it. And it can help us, Bez Hashem, to look upon our fellows favorably. And many times it's even true that the favorable approach, it really is the truth. And, we're too quick to condemn the person or whatever it is. And it's not really true. And it could avoid a lot of fighting and unnecessary strife and grief, and ultimately lead to even greater shalom and peace and getting along and ben adam chavero amongst all of Klal Yisrael, which is an additional tremendous schus. And Bez Hashem, if we could take all these things, first of all, making sure to get ourselves a Rebbe, at least to start out, so that we could begin to learn the Torah and be shown how to learn the Torah and have the Torah opened up to us, and to appreciate the tremendous, tremendous gifts that Svarim have for us, and how they're our greatest friend, and they're giving us more than anybody in the world gives to us. And as well, if we could look upon others favorably, and through that be zocha to have Hashem look upon us favorably, we can be zocha to tremendous, tremendous gifts that Hashem wants to shower upon us. And as we said, perhaps even to push us in the right direction to bring the geula through improving our ben adam chavero as well.